I'm H.G. Tudor. This video is about the first emotional battle, the emotional sea. This is the first battle that you will face when dealing with the narcissist. Everything we do is regarded as a battle. It is a zero-sum game. What you lose, we gain. There may appear to be a win-win scenario during seduction, but believe me, it is not the case. We are getting what we want. That is positive fuel in huge quantities, control over you, the repeating binding as we draw you closer and closer to us. We will also be obtaining other aspects of the prime aims, namely character traits and residual benefits. But it is control and fuel which are the two most important aspects of the prime aims. And that is what we are gaining during seduction. You are made to feel like a king or queen, but you will be deposed, usurped, beheaded, or defenestrated in due course. You always pay for the golden period that we shower you with. Our battle plans are drawn up when we ready ourselves to seduce you. The greater narcissist adopts the approach that every battle is won before it is fought. And therefore, there is planning and calculation. The lesser of our kind do remain effective, but they operate through instinct, being reliant on operating as a blunt weapon, not possessing the intellectual finesse of the greater narcissists. The lesser does not plan and relies on the visceral, unknown need for control and fuel to drive his battle strategy. His is all about reaction and immediate response, an automatic adjustment, which is invariably successful because he has been blessed with those tools, blunt as they may be. Our engagement with you is not love. It is war. It is conquest. We conquer, overrun, and blitzkrieg you into a position of submission. We occupy you so that your heart and mind fall to us, ideally within moments. This army of occupation does not stop there, as it raids the land it now resides in. Your resources become our resources, and we ensure that our supply lines are fed from your assets. This occupation eventually takes a savage turn, where you are the intimate partner primary source, when we commence devaluation, as we slash and burn, looking to effectively drive you downwards into the dirt before leaving you a stripped, bomb-blasted shell and setting off for a new campaign with some unsuspecting target. Your destruction is not our aim, not always. Invariably, however, your grinding down is a collateral consequence of the pursuit of the prime aims. The theme of battle, and your entanglement with our kind being a battleground, is one which is repeated throughout your engagement with us. This is especially so once callous disengagement has taken place. It is then, and it is the intimate partner primary source that is invariably disengaged from the most, that you find yourself confronted with three battles which take place, one after the other. Not only do you have us as your foe, but in an especially unappealing turn of events, you will find that you are in effect fighting against yourself. The first battle, following disengagement, is the emotional one. You have been left with no explanation. If one was actually tendered, it invariably made no sense. You cannot reconcile where you currently are with what has then been before. The descent from gilded pillar into the dust may well have been swift and merciless. Every day you have run the gauntlet of various emotions which has drained you, eroded you, and taken a significant toll on your well-being. Your emotions are red raw, heightened and easy to trigger. Your pain is extensive, agonizing and brutal. And it is during this first emotional battle that your ally of cool, detached, logical thinking has not actually fled the battlefield, but it never turned up to begin with. Your ability to assess, rationalize, and consider your position with the necessary critical analysis evades you. This is not a lack of intelligence on your part, but rather the frequent outcome of entanglement with our kind. A lack of access to the information and knowledge in the first place, combined with the enemy within, which is emotional thinking. All you are left with is a cauldron of emotion which serves only to heighten your distress, your bewilderment, and your confusion. Nothing makes sense. And you have not been left in a position to make any sense of what has happened. This is entirely deliberate. The narcissism has sought this either through its instinctive application where dealing with lesser and mid-range narcissists, and calculated, if you have the misfortune, rare as it is, to be ensnared with a greater narcissist. I know so many of you use the phrase hot mess. This is entirely apt. You are a mess. Your life is a mess. The heat comes from your raging emotions as you veer between hysteria and anger. Of the 3 battles that you fight post-disengagement, the first emotional battle is the one which you will invariably always end up losing. This is because you are utterly ill-equipped. If you were an army, your troops would be sharing guns. You would not know which way to face. Your supply lines have been overstretched, and in some places they are broken, and the enemy just seems to appear at will. The fog of war obscures your vision. Is that us advancing, or is it just the silhouette of a tree? You cannot tell. Once you could, but no longer. It is a tortuous place, and one which has been created through our design in order to ensure that when we return, and we will, you will be in no position to resist. Weakened, governed by emotional thinking rather than intellectual, logical thinking, you'll be overrun easily. This is when the hoovering operates. This first battle, where all you have is emotional thinking, means that you want the pain to stop. You want the golden period again. You give no consideration or thought to what the price of such desires might be, or whether it really is the golden period once more. You are ruled by this emotional thinking, and this proves to be your downfall. We instinctively know this, and this is why we ensure that you are a churning, broiling, scorching crucible of emotion. We create it. Our narcissism wants that. And this is why your first attempt at no contact, without the benefit of specialist input from me, nearly always fails. You are not equipped to prolong the no contact because in this first emotional battle, all it takes is for us to come galloping over the hill once again, offering terms of the golden period, and you will likely surrender in an instant, allowing us to occupy your territory once more in the understandable but ultimately forlorn hope of a peaceful coexistence. We throw you back into this emotional sea, and as you drown there once again, you will feel a rescuing hand suddenly grab you and haul you out. Your relief is immense. Of course, this rescuing hand belongs to us. And such is the effect of your emotional thinking. You return into our grasp rather than rejecting this supposedly helping hand. The hoover that we deploy as we rescue from the first emotional sea succeeds so readily because you want to escape the turmoil, and the quickest way to do so is to return to us. What makes it worse is that as your rescuer, we grant you a new golden period. And thus your emotional thinking cons you further by telling you that it was absolutely fine to go back, because look, it's worked. Everything is as it once was. You have been rewarded for agreeing to return. And therefore, that was the right decision, wasn't it? Your emotional thinking rules supreme again, as it cons you into thinking that this is the best outcome. Your immersion in the emotional sea has permeated throughout you. Any logic that was trying to gain a foothold to make you see clearly has been flooded out, overwhelmed, submerged. Logic cannot make itself heard, and you are drawn back into our grasp once again. How do you win this first emotional battle? You cannot. You are in such a position that we will always win this battle. The key for you is not to participate in this battle at all, but rather avoid it altogether. If you know that there is a battle you cannot win, why would you ever fight it? You would not. You would evade your foe, take steps to bolster your defences, and seek to avoid this first emotional battle. This is what you must do. Once you have gained awareness of the foe that you are engaged with, once you are fixed with knowledge that you are dealing with a narcissist, it may be during seduction, although that is unusual. More likely, it is during the period of devaluation, or more likely again, when you have been disengaged from. You must then take those steps to prepare yourself. You either avoid the emotional battle altogether by escaping rather than being disengaged from, or discarded and owed money. Alternatively, you steel yourself for the inevitable disengagement so that the emotional fallout is massively reduced, and instead you find yourself transported immediately to the second battle that took place post-disengagement. If you have been disengaged from, then you face the emotional battle and you will lose. What you must do is avoid the emotional battle in its entirety, or engage on terms in the second battle, which follows post-disengagement.